And I hope also that how to get all the because I used to do this like once outside. So you get to have the things like that. So currently I use cooking what raw material is that? Palm oil, shredding, all that. Palm oil? I'm just big over. Palm oil is mean you get palm oil from the government or the government. What subsidiaries? He usually with different companies. Yes, BMW.
Good morning. Hello, morning.我真的喜欢吃手，真的煮的，可是三很不是很容易用完再泡开东西吧，那突然就可是我买比较小的，小的，我是比较喜欢一个人做一个月，因为我是喜欢给学生做一个月，就是很在家，可是都很舒服哦，因为这种可以。我那边没有多学生，就下个灯就有一些人啊，我就可能会拿一个小的，一些小的，还是一个微压是多舒服哦。这个研发的人，他们的几个率会高 ？OK 哦，只说是现在打低啦，其实都其实挺。
你是可以这样的。
因为我们还没有这个开始，就是OK 啊。但是我给你的是2个趴着，还是我觉得没有，就是一个都没有，所以我不懂他在他的那个有需要什么还是就到底我们这样子就 OK 吗？还是 OK？ 没有那个东西改良啊，那个开幕的就不错。只有我讲我那么就他这个每天我就会跟老板拿就拜100就比较周末，就是做你停一下你有没有那个
Okay, good morning. Welcome back. Can you hear me? Morning. While waiting for the rest to arrive, I would like to draw your attention to the more portal provided. Under the more portal, you have it in front of you. Files. Under files, you get into the module on marketing. And other than the course outline, course outline is to show you the overview of the course, the subject, so that you know the essential areas to be covered. And also would like to draw your special attention to there's an attachment on references. So there's a number of pages on the Harvard style of referencing. which will be very useful for those who are new to the program. If you are in the first 3 modules, the correct way of presenting your work-based assignment, as I highlighted yesterday, on how to do a research paper. So there have been a number of repeated reminders here in this particular article, saying that the correct way of writing a postgraduate assignment paper will not be deriving from what you have in your mind. The modern approach is, it doesn't mean that it has to be 100% coming from your mind. But what you should do is to learn the skill of where to look for the right information, quoting information, resources from many web resources or websites, and then be able to present it in the academic way, such as the following, the guideline. I also mentioned yesterday, if you happen to use a citation or in-text reference of from a source of article written by 3 authors and above, so in the text itself, you do not need to actually quote all the 3 surnames or more. What you need to do is to only pick on the first surname and then add on with this add all, ETAL. It's a Latin word, ETAL, means and others, and then followed by the year. I've seen this repeatedly wrongly presented by many postgraduate students. Partly also because of the lecture in the past did not make it very particular, but in order to maintain the standard of what the university wants, so I would like to remind everyone to comply to this standard and requirement. And of course, there's a lot of explanation of why do I need to provide references in my work. I think it was also mentioned about plagiarism. In the Western society, copyright issues is very, very sensitive, and the lecturer can to the extent of failing student. We had actually last year conducted a UK program from University of Bolton. One of our last student who repeatedly refused to comply to the comment by the exam board of plagiarism, because she copied the whole paragraph and the examiner asked her to remove. As long as you do some modification in your own words, you are safe. The software will not show the high percentage of copying, but she refused to comply the 3rd time. Finally, the Bolton exam board decided fail and finish, means completely burn off. All her fee pays, everything gone. Fail her and drop off. And until today, she's still making her appeal and all that, but there's no way to get it back. The moment the university decided, you are gone. So this will show you that the Western universities are very particular about plagiarism. So please don't cry if you don't comply and being failed off. And that has also explained the reason why when our side, we are doing the bridging role in between, on one hand, we know the university's requirement. On the other hand, we know the student's problem. We try to do a compromising role by always getting students to submit your work for us to review, to give you the comment, and also to suggest to you what to modify. Some students are very, very impatient. Why do I need to make so many changes? The more changes you make, the better the quality of work in your presentation in terms of originality, because you are creating your own style of writing. That's what we are hoping the UC will not catch you on plagiarism, because we sense it that the paragraph you copy is too close to the original text published, and you may be accused on plagiarism. We are of good intention, but some young students are very, very impatient in the expression. Do I need to keep on changing? Why can't you tell me one shot? Sometimes it's not easy, because the moment you unveil one mistake, the other minor mistake may emerge. So we have to let you know several times of changes. That is the procedure. So that is how in the academic world we can actually help the student. So be understanding, indirectly we are trying to help you, but He had to work closely with us so that we clear away from the university's restriction. Yeah. I mean, the more work you have done, the higher cost we are going to incur. We wouldn't want that, you see. But if you don't do that, you may be caught and you cannot pass. Then we are in trouble. You are also suffering. So we have to work together. And also the MBA student in particular, yesterday lunchtime, a senior came to see me with the problem of the BDSM MBA in particular. When you have done your 8 chapters in the project of 80 pages, we have our internal committee to review and send it to the university for the first comment. And normally within 2 weeks, the external examiner will reply with a report by highlighting your strengths, your weaknesses, recommendations. And there will be also an indication of the mark score by the student. So that student score about 60%, which is between B and C. The B range should be from 65 to 79. So while we have told her to improve on the recommended weaknesses, a month later she actually submitted to us. And we realized that she has changed everything inclusive of the title, and she wanted us to help her to resubmit again. Without realizing, we accidentally sent it back to the university and was rejected. She actually submitted a totally different project altogether. And I told her the university has a system of scanning all your copies. The final copy that you have sent to the examiner, it has been scanned. So they will make a comparison. When they ask you to make changes on page 5, page 6, you just have to follow. Do not rewrite. Because of that, the university asks the student to go through the whole process of assessment again. That means the whole project we have to resubmit to another set of examiner, and it'll take another month to come back. And she wanted to graduate in this August. Then she was caught in a situation of panic. I cannot graduate. I said, you should come and discuss with us. When we ask you to change, you just have to change in that portion. Do not change everything, inclusive the title, the objective, everything changed. So whatever changes you made towards the end, come and discuss. Don't just keep quiet. Yeah. So what I would like to highlight here is that the sample statement in red colors. We know that all of you are very busy. You are working during weekday and then weekend you are studying. So this article, this reference material, make it very friendly user in the sense they quoted example in red color, so that you know a statement which is very significant here, such as an effective structure is important. Yeah, effective structure. So you are able to plan your staff in the correct position, correct department. So that is a message sent by the author. So it was actually presented by Redman in the year of 2006. And there must be a comma in between. This is an academic discipline, not full stop, comma. And some students ask me, do we need to indicate the page number? At the master level, we are not that particular. So in a way, the university is lenient. It may not be necessary for you to quote page number. With or without, you will not be penalized. But the required standard is Redman, comma, 206 and close the bracket. That's a minimum requirement.
How about we didn't write the year?
No, it's not sufficient in a sense. Most of the researchers or authors, they are very productive. We have in our team many senior lecturers who is teaching the doctorate program. They have written more than 100 papers. Each year there could be 5 to 10 papers. So if you do not write a year, we can't differentiate. Let's say this Dr. Bala. You put Bala. Every year he is publishing papers. Which paper? He has published more than 100 papers. So year is important. That's why when you cited a reference source, remember to put a notebook beside so that you jot down. And when you incorporate into your writing, at least you have a reference into your notebook. Yeah. Otherwise, it's going to have a problem when you go back to search after 1 year later, you may not find it. And then you see there's another, the reference list at the back. Now, this is a format of a summary of all the references at the back. Yeah, there must be. The work-based assignment in particular will require that. Well, these are the requirements when we decide on students A or B. We don't talk about C and below. Remember yesterday? My purpose is to show you how to get A and B, so you have to comply to the standard.
So how about we using a newspaper online? So how to write for?
Let's say you are getting from News Straits Time, that put News Straits Time, the date, newspaper you have to put the date. It doesn't matter whether it's digital form or the printed form.
Just the
of certain the same value.
Online, the date and the title by who?
Yeah. So you see, all the red colors are very good example of how citation should be presented. Means you have cited somewhere, you bring in, and that will strengthen your presentation. You know, because all of us are laymen, nobody knows us. So you have to quote from certain source of someone who is well known. For example, if you are quoting from Family Charm, the most well-known person is Gary most of the time. If you are quoting any articles on marketing, Kotler is most of the time being mentioned. If you are talking about culture, Hofstede is a person. So when you bring in someone who is well-known, you are going to attract the attention of the examiner that it is important. Yeah. Of course, you cannot keep on repeating so and so say what, and at the end you need to present your view with your analysis. So you see, you have two sources. In this way, it's very strong because by presenting your message in this way, he has indicated to the examiner that you are a well-read person. You manage to cite the same point from two different sources. So this is a widely read student. You have read through many and have seen something very similar. So you are going to score more bonus mark. See, this is another good source of way of representing. Recent research by Collins, Brown, there are so many. These are two authors, also two authors. That's how we actually present the finding. In fact, over here we have three authors already. So you can actually take away Harris and you, and then he put it as FL. So I think I will not proceed further. You can actually read it on your own. Yeah. Okay, chapter 3 is more on market intelligence. Market intelligence or marketing intelligence. Meaning to say the information which are related to marketing that we can actually collect or gather from the external world. Okay? External world means any environment which is outside your organization is known as external world, which can be domestic or even international. And why do you think that marketing or market intelligence are very important in this aspect? And what is the purpose? I mean, this will help to convince any one of you working in the marketing department to understand the purpose of why sometimes your superiors are expecting you to do some research. The importance of research, market research. To gather information from the outside world. Okay, I will generally summarize it as stakeholders. Yeah, the people aspect. The other one is a macro environment. Normally, the purpose of conducting market research or gathering marketing intelligence. Yes.
Can you I need to to your side, I need the script.
You like to see the words?
Yeah, let's see your words, yes. Thank you.
Stakeholders and also macro environment. Stakeholders. How much do you understand about stakeholders? In a layman definition, stakeholders are referring to people who have the interest, and the keyword is interest, and also will be affected by the performance of your organization. Normally we talk about, let's say, organization A stakeholders, means those people who have the interest in the performance of your company and will be affected by the performance of your company. It means if your company is doing well, they'll be benefited. If your company is not doing well, they will also be affected. Besides competitors, yeah. So generally, there are actually two different segments, but we are talking about external. In this case, we are only looking into external, because market intelligence or marketing intelligence is referring to outside, the people outside, such as your supplier. If you are in the tangible production line, then you have to be concerned with the suppliers. Sometimes there may be pressure from the supplier, such as they may limit the supply of raw materials to you, or they may control the pricing depending on your terms of payment. Yeah, that's one. And number two, your competitors. I think most of the time when we conduct market or marketing intelligence, we will always be looking into the competitors. What are the pricing that they are following? Are they going to price it high or low? That depends on the different phase of the product development. Remember yesterday we talked about introduction, growth stage, maturity, and declination. The prices vary according to the 4th phase of the product development. Yeah, so that you don't either overprice it or underprice it. Earn while you can, but don't earn while you cannot even survive. Yeah, number one. And number two, the strategy of your competitors. Have you ever noticed that in marketing line, some of the competitors, they use a different set of strategy. Of course, traditionally, we are thinking of advertising. Which are the type of newspaper that we should advertise? And sometimes it depends on the season, which are the days in the week that we should advertise. If we are looking into, let's say, the corporate managers of executive, don't advertise over the weekend because they don't read paper. Maybe they read paper for other purpose. Okay? What else? How about in the form of e-advertising, using the e-media? Yeah? And then which are the right way of presenting your message? And of course, the latest trend is more on direct marketing. Direct marketing. It means they have gone through the relationship approach of approaching the customer using SMS and all that. No, there's way and means to buy data, buy digital data from all sources. Right? How about macro environment? Government policy. Yeah? Especially when you are entering a new country or new province or provinces, be very careful. Yeah? Country like Vietnam, we used to hear that there was ample opportunity for new businesses. But then some of the new entrants, they were badly hit because why? They have actually encountered problems in a big country like Vietnam, but without knowing that there are two different rules set by the government. Let's say in Ho Chi Minh, they have their provincial government policy, and they also have the federal government policy from Hanoi. And which is more important? And the earlier entrants learned that the provincial government seems to be more influential than the federal because it's so far. When it comes to implementation, they follow the local rule rather than the federal rule. So that's why there was a misinterpretation of that policy. And of course, due to the effect of globalization, the currency fluctuated. Even in Malaysia, we have realized the last 3 months, our currency has been weakened. And we were told that the general feedback from the Johorian, since we have Johorian starting from South, a lot of employers are complaining they are losing out their employees. What was the reason? Most of the employees from, yes?
Because of the currency of Sing dollar is too high, so they rather go to Singapore and work in Singapore to earn Sing dollar. That's
why I'm very respectful to 3 or 4 of you who are very loyal to Malaysian company by working in Johor Bahru. Remember the question I asked you yesterday?
Yes.
That what you are still working in Johor and not moving to Singapore. What we have heard as an outsider was that a lot of Malaysians from South quit their job and move over to Singapore because of higher or stronger currency. So all of you are very loyal to Malaysian government. Okay. I mean, this could happen, in a sense. Yeah? Cultural aspect normally would not take will not be so fast. It takes some time. It may go through decade or century. Yeah? Collecting information, yeah, as mentioned earlier. And then customers, yes, I missed out one point. Customers. We go back here. Customers. Yeah. Sometimes from customer, you can actually gather a lot of information. The comment towards your company, and also the comments over the competitors. Why aren't they choose the competitor and they've chosen you? What are the competitive advantages? Yeah. External factors could be due to the competitors coming from overseas or new entrants. Right? Marketing information system. Of course, this is a computerized system so that you can incorporate all the information in place. Yeah. Including the people, equipment, and also the procedure. Of course, more. We have more than these 3. Marketing information system. Yeah. The internet record, marketing research, marketing intelligence, internet record. So how to set up the system? This is part of the job function of marketing staff. A big company, they have many sub divisions in the marketing. Data mining is more on sorting out the data that we have collected by categorization. Order to payment cycle. What do you think about this aspect of marketing? Order to payment cycle. I believe the payment here is referring to account receivable, because whether you like it or not, most of the marketing department will have their clients, or their customers who have agreed to subscribe the product or service, or purchase a product or subscribe the service by making their payment in stages, by installment. Yes? Are you following? Yeah. Unlike China, I was told most of the billing are by cash. They don't pay it by installment. They just pay by cash because they are very cash free. But other countries, normally we have a tendency of making payment by stages. Therefore, the marketing department should actually link to finance to have that record, to look into the installment payment in stages. News and trade publications. Are those very important to marketing department? That will actually show you the market trend, and indirectly it will give us a picture of the product life cycle, or whether this product that you are focusing is on the upstream or downstream. What is meant by upstream or downstream? These are the layman description. Upstream means product which are going to be increasing in demand, upstream. Downstream means it's going to decline. Meet with customers, suppliers, distributors, and other managers. Your appointment, this is part of the prospecting approach, because in your marketing activity, sometimes you may have come across customers who wanted to buy, but they are not ready because monies are not ready yet. But the interest is that maybe 3 months later or 6 months later, they are ready. The Malaysian culture is they will look into the saving from the employee provident fund. Maybe 6 months later, my account too will increase. Then I have more money to utilize it to buy a house, to pay for my tuition fee. So I will only enroll after 6 months later, when my account too has increased in the figure. How about monitor social media sites? What are the information that you can share to the public, inclusive of the competitors and customers? So you have to be very careful. Some of the highly P&C info you may not like to share with competitors, so you can't put it out. Maybe you need to create a password to your customer. Only that portion you have to use password. So customers who have decided to engage your company, then only you provide the password, so that not everyone who can visit the website can access to such info. Salesforce, established industry network, a customer advisory panel. What is the purpose? I think in Asia it's not very common. Customer advisory panel. This is part of the customer relationship management. When they are in the process of utilizing your product or subscribing your service, they may have some misinterpretation, or they do not have the right skills of how to use your product. So that is how you can actually help them, such as ensuring that they are well-trained to use your product, number one. If the products are not so user-friendly, that will also help you to provide information to the production department. In future, how and what should the company improve on the product so that it's more friendly to user. External expert. Those are normally needed only for the future development. Someone who is very experienced normally can be coming from overseas or from those more developed countries. They have seen the advantages and the defects of that product in the advanced country. So they will share experience from their previous learning curve. What do you think about customer complaint side? The last point here, customer complaint side.
Bottom line is very developed at the moment.
Yeah, I think it's good to hear. You know, if the complaints are constructive, it's important to hear the feedback because they are very close to what you are providing. And we have been keeping out of hand for a while. So it's good to listen, provided it's reasonable and constructive. The company should normally listen to them. But if one or two, we may not. But if the majority really have the same complaint, then it's something which is highly valuable for company to look into that.
Also, like last 5-7 years, they've been doing lots of researches about electronic word of mouth. So basically, they reviewed all this review and their influence on the sales. So they've been looking into books review, movies review, and see how did it influence the sales. So eventually, they find out that those books that have good reviews online, they will be sold more. Same goes with the hotels online.
The publicity from other sources may influence the public media may influence the customer's decision. We talk about comparison of brand, which handphone is more effective or useful. So that may influence the new customer. Yeah. Any sharing from Johor? Any one of you would like to chip in your viewpoint for discussion?
About the customer complaint?
Yeah, customer complaint. Have you ever encountered that? And how was your response towards that?
Usually, I think if the customer complaint will come from Malaysia, what we did is we will send the quality control assurance to the site to review the thing. And then if necessary, we will carry out the internal improvement process and then feedback to the customer.
Okay. Very professional. This is a very professional way. When you receive complaint, you will send the expert to go and review and find out the root cause. With that report, will be brought back to the company for future improvement. Yeah? So that means to say it's pretty reactive in a sense. When someone actually brought up the attention, you attend to it, and then come back and review and think of the solution, remedial solution. Either that particular item can be taken back for service, or you replace another unit. Macro environment, as I mentioned just now, macro environment, which is unavoidable because of the globalization. Needs and trends. These are more on the new product development, major environmental forces, economic, climate, as I said, the currency fluctuation is going to create impact on the country's buying power. How about natural? This is something very new over the last 5-10 years. We heard about tsunami, we heard about flood, we heard about earthquake affecting the business activities from carrying out. You don't even have food or drink over days or weeks. So how to proceed with business activities? So this can be very serious, but very unpredictable. Yeah. Technological. I think I mentioned yesterday about countries which are very very strong IT infrastructure. Some of which they have not reached a level. We have a case which I've actually experienced personally through observing and listening. You know, the Nissan car in Malaysia have been exclusively represented by a company known as Tanchong. I think some of you even with Tanchong before. And Tanchong took a bold step last year to actually enter the Myanmar market under the brand name of Tanchong Nissan. In somewhere around Yangon. So happened I was there. And we do have some students studying there as well for the same MBA. So it was a very, very influential headline on the newspaper that they are going into the Myanmar market in a big way. And what we have heard about the focus of Tanchong is not only to sell car, but they're going to produce spare parts, using steels and all that to produce spare parts in Myanmar. And beginning of this year, there was some problem or issue that we have discovered. The infrastructure and the power supply there is not enough. Because it's a heavy industry, you need power. And the entire Myanmar is still very poor. The government do not have enough funds to generate power. So that project was actually affected and delayed. So these are some of the things which the marketer should actually be very careful. Now, when you're in a new country, you need to check on that, requiring a lot of power. As I told you, some of the shop or office, daily there'll be power cut, and you need generator, and that's very costly. And government cannot even support at this moment. So the entire project has been delayed. Demographic, as I told you, the last 10 years we have seen changes. The downfall of Japan. Have you noticed the electronic devices, even Japanese car compared to Korean? Japan has a slowdown, and also partly hit by the tsunami. Yeah, plus the aging society. Demographic environment. I would strongly like to remind all of you to go into the website. Let me remind one more time. The website of CIA.gov. Can you read from far? www.cia.gov. So this is a very useful website which you can use for all the modules of your MBA. Where you need not have to travel to that country, you can actually access. Maybe I'll just take you through. Let's see whether you just. Since all of you are very busy, so let's try. You can see the title, World Fact Book. Yeah? World Fact Book. Repeat the process in case you miss one. Yeah. When you key in www.cia.gov, you'll be able to see the first page and then look for World Fact Book, FACTBOK. From there, you see the logo, Central Intelligence Agency. It was actually created by the American side to understand different countries' profile through research. So in order to share with the public, they created this website known as Central Intelligence Agency. So you have the World Fact Book showing the entire global environment. So it's very user-friendly. You can choose the country that you want. Let's say you are looking into, let's say, Malaysian side. Let's see whether we can get. Yeah. Then I click on Southeast Asia now. I have a lot of Southeast Asian countries here. Let's look at Japan. Look at Japan. Yeah. You see that? The entire profile of Japan. You can see the flag of Japan, and then the Japan. You can pick. Let's say if I'm looking into people and society. Yeah. Population. Ethnic group. You see, they have 98.5% of the Japanese, and also the population is about 127 million approximately. As on in July, that is this month. Yeah, sorry, last month, last year, 1 year earlier. Do you see that? The distribution of their population. As I mentioned, they are facing the aged population issue that 25 is about almost 1/4 of the people 65 years and above. You get it? And also the middle range of around 38% between 25 to 54. Some are actually quite close to retirement age also. So these two parts, the 25 to 54 and 65 and above, they are already contributing to half of the Japanese population. Can you see that? The threatening part is the younger age group between 15 to 24, they have only 9.7%. So if you have a chance to tour around Japan, what would you notice? You could hardly see many young people in Japan. So most of them are very senior. And some of the longest living people in the world, they are from Japan. Can you imagine that this group, if they are going to survive until 110 years old, they are not productive, but they're consuming a lot of natural resources. How would Japan be positioning in the future? All the productive people are moving towards aging. So you can actually use this to actually strengthen your discussion. Yeah. And can you see the Japanese population growth rate is minus 0.13. Yeah. So pretty slow. And also the centralization of the people in Tokyo is about 37 million, and so on and so forth. So you can look into even the GDP, GDP ratio on the same website. Oh, sorry. Let's look at China. One more exercise. China, people, society in China. That was last year also, I think, 1.4. Can you see that? 47%, they were 25 to 54. So another 10 more years, what will happen in China? Almost half of the population are going to be 35 years and above. Yeah? And not counting this another 20% already here. 20 plus the 50%. So it's about 3/4 of the population in China are going to be aged very soon. So the businessmen, they are very good. Most of them are now investing on medical care services. Yeah? Any one of you in medical field, would you like to consider expanding your business in China? It's an opportunity. 3/4 of the population are going to be aged in 10 years' time. Almost 71%. What they need is medical care. So that's how businessmen are compiling their report, by using this style of resource. Yes, any question? Even the GDP also, you can use this CIA, yeah, the source for it. Okay, we are moving back. demographic, we mentioned this now. The world as a village, also partly because of the internet and the advancement of technology. Either the market has been globalized or regionalized. So what is the difference between globalized and regionalized? When we use the two different words, regionalized or globalized. When we talk about globalized, we are talking about across all continents, the 5 continents. When we talk about regionalized, it is just like going by the block, economic block, such as ASEAN country, North American, yeah, and we talk about European Union economic bloc in a sense. What are your general views towards that concept? Of course, in the case of European Union, we have witnessed the realization of using common currency, enhance the trading. But on the other hand, there are also negative impact leading to the collapse of some of the countries' economy, like Greece and all that lately. Because they cannot actually match the pace of development of other countries and left behind, and getting themselves much weakened and dropping out from the European Union body. So these are the pros and cons when businessmen are making decisions. They have to be far-sighted, far-sighted. And having said that, it's not easy to always carry out the plan successfully, because certain product or service can be accepted globally, some cannot, due to religious reason perhaps, due to the cultural issue perhaps you can't. So you need time to actually conduct survey. What do you think about running business in credit? Do you all have such an experience? Of course, in the true business transaction, it's advisable for us to deal in to close the deal by demanding cash term. But in practice, if you want volume, sometimes you have to think of certain percentage of income that to go on credit. But then the credit control will also depend on the payment. As I shared with you, our MBA student who came from AIG yesterday was saying that last few months of this year, many of her insurance clients, they can be divided into 2 categories. One category was reduce the insured sum. That used to be, let's say, 120,000 value of the car, now reduced to 90,000, so that the premium can be reduced, so that they pay less for the insurance before they renew the road tax. And then there's also about 20% of our clients have chosen not to renew, meaning you don't renew road tax, you don't renew the insurance, you cannot renew road tax. They are willing, even willing to take the risk. Of course, that should not be spread to the enforcement, but that's what she felt. The business dropped by more than 30%. The customers here, they are critically suffering from cash flow due to higher commitment to pay taxes like GST and all that, and they've chosen not to even renew their insurance and road tax. So meaning to say the insurance company don't even have the business from those renewals like before. How much do you know about income distribution? It's something to do with allocation of funds from the top, from the government, from the bank, which can allow easy lending of money, or maybe the contract to be distributed to different distributors. Social cultural, more about the society, the behavior and style of spending, lifestyle. Yeah. What are the differences between the Singaporean and Malaysian in terms of the lifestyle? Any sharing from South? I'm referring to the aspect of spending lifestyle, the style of spending. The Singaporean side and the Malaysian side. Have you all noticed any difference or differences? Yes, no?
Yeah, from my experience is actually Malaysian buying behavior is they like to have a good quality in terms of product and also the service. But for Singapore, when they buy something, they expected to have extremely good service and cheaper price.
Oh, that's interesting. You hear that? Extremely good product and very cheap in the pricing. Whereas Malaysians are just in between. Any sharing? Nigerian side? The spending style compared to what you have observed here.
Almost the same.
Yeah?
Almost the same.
How about from Kazakhstan?
I believe we have a little bit different approach to spending money.
Uh,
We are still like I want to talk about in the sense of the e-commerce.
E-commerce.
You know, back home we're still on the stage of of the low trust to any e-commerce transaction, any electronic transaction. But in Malaysia, I can see that people are more willing to, purchase things online because even the evidence is Lazada, websites like Lazada or Zalora. If these things exist, I believe that demand here also exists. But back home, you can't see that at all.
I mean, people don't really trust.
They don't trust.
E-commerce.
Even in terms of the holidays, we still have a lot of travel agencies who actually handle all the bookings for you. But here in Malaysia, people like to book online. I bought even the tickets for the flights also online. But back home, no.
I think that will also depend on the enforcement by the local government. On those online companies, you need to have some form of assurance to the client. When people subscribe online, meaning they are paying in advance, prepaid, So you have to be responsible to the delivery. If not instant, it must be very fast. One very good example which I noticed was the world's largest university. Which is the world's largest university? Have you ever heard about? In America, there was what we call the e-learning university known as Phoenix, University of Phoenix. Yeah. 10 years ago, I used to hear that they have about almost 100,000 students learning online throughout the world, and mostly they are postgraduate, master and doctorate. And it's not cheap, easily somewhere around 20,000-30,000 US dollars learning online. And it's fully accredited and protected by the Malaysian government, by the American government. And because of expansion, 5 years ago, they managed to build a very well-established building at their headquarters. But still, they continue with the e-learning approach. And today, I heard they have about 500,000 students registered online throughout the world. And how could it be, learning online? And we have a real experience of a professor used to come and visit here before. That was 5 years back. Strangely, that he couldn't spend time with us at night. Even after the business meeting, we wanted to invite him for dinner. I said, sorry, cannot. I have a deadline to meet. I said, what deadline? He said, no, I'm actually the external tutor for the Phoenix MBA student. And I've signed a contract that any student's inquiry or question, I have to reply within 24 hours. And last night I received a question which I have not replied. I must go back to the hotel to quickly reply. Otherwise, you cancel my contract and fine. Meaning, any student post question, the online tutor or lecturer must reply within 24 hours. If student complain, you cannot show proof, instantly your contract will be terminated. They just drop you off. You see, to that extent. So the speedy delivery must be there. That must be there to support. Of course, the enforcement of law by the local government, whether they are able to reach out or not. That's another question. Okay? Natural environment. as I said, a good example was on the flood in Bangkok many years ago, affected Toyota. The assembly plant was actually moved over from Malaysia to Bangkok. And I think 5-6 years ago, there was a heavy flooded whole Bangkok city, including the Toyota plant. It was closed and shut off for a few months without any production. So that's a very good example. I happened to meet someone in Bangkok a few months after the tsunami incident, somewhere around western part of Penang, and up north is the Thailand's very famous resort. What is the Phuket Island? Yeah, I happened to meet one of the owners of the seaside restaurant, bar and restaurant, and he actually changed his career from the bar and restaurant owner to education. That's why we met in Bangkok. And he was sharing with me, it was a nightmare. His partner was talking to him that morning in the restaurant having meeting. Few minutes later, they saw a wave, just like mountain high. And split second, his partner disappeared, was shouting from the sky. The current just pulled away the partner. And he was holding on there was a pillar of the building, was shaken about to be broken because of the power of the wave was so strong. And the partner was just shouting, flying off. And few hours later that night, he saw the partner up on the hillside, seriously injured and died, smashed after falling down from the sky. And instantly he closed down the restaurant, told the mother, I will not want to be there anymore, and moved back to Bangkok himself, spending his time along the Phuket side. And I don't think those people who have gone through the experience would like to be there anymore. With a very, very sad experience. It was scary. He couldn't sleep for many months. Always dreamt of the partner, talking to him, and a split second gone. So can you imagine that? Of course, there are many of those reports on the earthquake cases, which was very sad. Technological, political. Yeah, when we talk about the political and legal environment, I need to highlight on the copyright issue, the patent and copyright. Now we talk about product entering a new market without any legal protection of your branding or copyright. And it can be very serious in the sense you cannot penetrate. Yesterday we brought up the case of GM Motor in China, before WTO, before China became the member of WTO. Many of the GM Motor spare parts were copied in China. That's why they lost the market share. Yeah. So if there's no legal protection, it may affect your sales projection. And there are people who can actually imitate your brand also. That's another aspect. The power of copying is very fast in China. You heard about the princess of UK on the wedding day. Yeah, King William's was a wedding. The wedding day. The following day, the same type of the gown appeared in China already. They copied within 24 hours. Very fast. Even we saw the Nokia handphone during the peak time of Nokia in Shenzhen, while Nokia was selling about almost 2,000 plus in Malaysia. You can get below Malaysian currency. It's about, I think, $300-400 of Nokia in Shenzhen, the southern China Nokia, which we know that is an imitate version of Nokia. People know that, but a lot of people buy because with the price you can buy 5 or 6. And we actually interviewed the purchaser. Why are you taking such a risk to buy? They say first, very cheap, and secondly, they say friendly user, because the producer of Nokia handphone in China, they created a website in Chinese. If there's any defect of your China version of Nokia, your service menu on the website. And they really follow. Each time there's any defect, they can repair themselves. That's why they're confident to buy. At only about the 20% of the actual price of Nokia. It looks good, you see. and you can repair yourself. That's how they actually sell it. Size, growth, profit potential, forecast on demand. Yeah. Okay, market types. Potential market, available market, target market, penetrated market. So you see the shrinking of size from level to level. Potential was actually the imaginative size, and then the actual size is a green zone, and then the targeted, because based on the green, you cannot go for 100% of the share. Certain segment within your geographical reach, perhaps, within the selling, the buying power of the customer. And then the penetrated market will be the last. The last means those who have actually secure, really secure, successfully secure segment with the smallest ring. This is just a representation of the concept. 90 types of demand measurement. These are very scientific in the presentation. What is a difference between market demand and company demand? How are we going to relate? I think this is a general representation. We talk about the entire market. When you talk about the entire market, it can be divided into, say, government, the company, the individual end user. Yeah. So those sector which have not been labeled, it could be related to the government demand, whereby the products or services are purchased by the government body, and also there will be household or individual demand. I mean, and those non-labeled sector could be from those areas. Now, when we talk about sales, you think of the computer. Computer is catering for commercial use, for government departmental use, or it can be by corporate, or it can be by the school, for example, it can be by the household. So different level. It is depending on the industry. Yeah, industry. Marketing demand as a function of industry. This is the economic way of representing the degree of growth and decline. Some mathematical formula to show you how to calculate total market potential. Yeah. The formula here is inclusive of potential buyers multiplied by average purchase quantity. Because by item, some potential buyer may buy one, such as handphone. I believe on average, most of you will have 3 handphones, right? Am I right? Yes or no? Let's survey. On average, how many handphones do you have? But I can predict that majority we have at least 2. Get married? 1 only. How? That means my hypothesis is wrong. How about those from Johor? Any one of you having more than 1 handphone?
Yes.
See? At least it's balanced out. Most of them, they have more than 1 handphone. And also there was a survey, I think 2 years ago, there was a water rationing going on in this part of Malaysia, in Kuala Lumpur area, where there was some shortage of water supply due to the hot season, hot season. And there was also a news report appear on newspaper by saying that they discovered Malaysians are very luxurious and fortunate in a sense. One main reason of why there was insufficient of water supply even in the dry season was that most of the household, they have at least 3 cars. Some are having 7 or 10 cars. Maybe per family member, they have 2 cars, I don't know, calculated, at least 3 cars. And they use the water from the tap to wash their car every day, once in the morning, once in the evening. That's why the water supply was short at that point. So that has actually reflected the affordability of those who can afford so many cars. And they were saying, why not you use some recycled water, rainwater, to wash car instead of using the water from tap. So water is supposed to be meant for drinking, not for washing car at that moment. Okay. Average price. So if there's a need, you can always refer back to this page. Estimated future demand, sale forecast option. I would say normally it will depend on the demographic trend. And when we work on sales forecast, it is also good for you to understand the demographic trend of a country. And that has also explained why many of the fast food restaurants, such as KFC or even McDonald's and so on, they try to focus on the souvenir items catering for the young kids. Why? I was wondering, 5-10 years ago, thinking of all these fast food are meant for those adults, those who can afford. Why are they focusing time to promote the souvenir, where every month they have a new toy coming out? In order to collect, you have to purchase so much before you are able to get a coupon to claim for the next. So they have a full collection. And those toys are actually quite suitable for the young kids. Why are they focusing on young kids? Sometimes certain television campaigns are catering for the kids in KFC and so on. Why are they looking into that? Have you ever given that a thought? We are actually looking at the future market growth of the young generation. If I focus on those below 10 years old, my business will have a lifespan of another 20-30 years because they are going to grow another 10 years, another 10 years. I don't focus on those aging group because they are not going to have another 30 more years. You see the point? So they look at country with a pyramid type of demographic chart. This is what we call demographic chart. It's triangular shape. Yeah? See that? Where the younger age group are the majority. So if you focus on those below 10, you are going to have a very good market potential because they are going to grow. And they are so used to your brand since young, since childhood. So 20 years, 30 years. So you have a market potential of growth. Instead of otherwise. You get it? When they've grown to the middle age group, they need fast food sometimes because of the hectic working hours. They don't have the time to prepare lunch or even dinner. So they go for fast food. When they're getting older, since young, I've been so used to the brand of KFC, I'll bring my son or granddaughter to go for the fast food. So that is the after effect. flow chart to show you if you need to conduct marketing research, what are the steps? So when your superior asks you to actually compile a market research report, so this is what you should do. Define problem and research objective. When you do something on project, always remember there must be a purpose or objective. So it must be very clear. There are many students who have problem of writing that that objective. My advice is all objectives should be written by starting with the word to. To find out, to determine. Yeah? To find out, to determine. These are some of the important phrases for you to use when you're writing a marketing research report. Now, objective must always start with the word to, T-O, which is very important. So at the end, your superior or the reader will actually assess, have you actually achieved your objective or not? Yeah? When you want to do something, there's your aim. So at the end, are you able to accomplish it or not? So the quality of your report will be checked when we look at the heading of objective and your accomplishment at the end. Have you actually achieved it? And then when you develop the research plan, it should also be involving the timeline, such as a Gantt chart. Have you heard about Gantt chart? G-A-N-T-T. Yeah? You can check the website G-A-N-T-T, Gantt chart. That means it's a matrix for you to show task number one, just like a contractor. Yeah? At the site there's a meeting room. Normally they have created a Gantt chart. So task number one, such as to lay the foundation, it will take you 2 months. So you have to make sure that there are enough stones, enough cement supply, and the groundwork must be done by certain deadline. The engineer will check. So task number two, you must get the steel, to erect the what they call the pillar. Yeah? So this is a step 2. So it has to be done in the sequential. Periodical means within the stage. Sequential means the next step. Periodical and sequential manner, under your research plan. And of course, when it comes to market research, once you have actually decided to allocate, in this case, it's not on the physical, but you involve people. I may need 5 research assistants. That's point number 2. When you plan, I may need to have 5 research assistants, and I need 1 month to brief and train them. So third step, once it's done, I will send them up to the field to go and conduct survey. So there must be a survey form created and how to actually conduct interview on the prospect. So this is the third phase. Then after their field work, they will come back 1 month later, and you must have a meeting on guiding them how to write report. And you are going to gather from the 5 set of report and integrate into a master report of yours. So once you have the integrated report, then you have to analyze the data. So you have to do the analysis. When you analyze, you know that there are 5 sets of data. How are you going to integrate them into one? There are many ways of presenting your result. Of course, the most commonly presented statistical tool will be using the bar chart or pie chart. Yeah? At the high school level, you learn about pie chart, bar chart, and histogram, for example. There are also a trend chart. Trend chart means every year up and down trend. So trend chart. There's also one which is known as a radar chart. Have you heard about radar chart? Okay, let me show it to you. The last 2 years, this has been increasingly popular. To me, I prefer to use a layman term of, it's some sort of like a spider netting, kind of chart. but in the scientific term, we call it as a radar chart. Let's say if you have 5 parameters, you are talking about a Hofstad. You remember Hofstad's 5 dimension? Let's say a power distance, for example, Hofstad first dimension. And then you have the uncertainty avoidance. And number 3, you have your, say, individualism. And then also you have the masculinity. And then you have a time orientation. Let's say these are the five dimensions of culture. And of course, you divide 360. You can really design by using computer software. 360 divided by 5. How much will it be? One angle. 360 divided by 5. 72, right? Without using calculator. 360 divided by 5. Is it 72? Anyone? Test your mathematics. 72. Yes. So the width should be around 72 degrees. Yeah? This will show you it must be equally spaced. But then from your research, you may have 2 sets of data. Let's say I have visited the city capital. The power distance is supposed to be, because they are more exposed, the superior and subordinate, normally they don't have such a wide gap. So lower degree, that's for the city, for example. Yeah, uncertainty avoidance also, they are more exposed, they are more than willing to take risks. So very low level of risk fear. Yeah. And how about individualism? Are the city people very self-centered or not? Generally. They are used to socialization. So low degree of individualism means high level of collectivism. Yeah, the reverse. Masculinity. What is the interpretation of masculinity? Certain ethnic group or group of people who are very aggressive, the way they talk very rough. You know, you have seen certain group of people who are very polite, very approachable type. So that's very humane. Huh? Those who have more feeling towards human, they are known as more humane. But there's another type who don't care. I just want my way, very rough, no way of compromising, very aggressive. Are the city people very masculinity or very humane? Yeah. Let's say if they are, due to competition, they are under pressure. Sometimes when they talk, also very demanding. Assuming that you put it there. And then how about time orientation? Under Hofstede, yeah, Hofstede, Hofstede, yeah, to those of you who are not familiar. It's a very important research, and you need this in all the MBA subjects. Remember, the more you use it, the more bonus mark you are going to get. Hofstede, so it's better to learn now. Time orientation. We have two variables, either the short term or long term. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Lucy, right? Lucy, uncertainty avoidance. What's it called? They try to just avoid he or she, they can choose any culture in the middle of it's very nice. Very interesting. You study already. Yeah. That one you can actually compare country to country.
Okay, when we talk about TO, time orientation, or Hofstede, who had actually gone through his second round of his research. Hofstede is a researcher from Netherlands. He started with the first round of research by covering 110 IBM companies, from 110 countries. Each country, he chose the IBM office and survey among the staff and observe their characters and all that for months and realize that their culture can be divided into power distance, uncertainty avoidance, individualism, and masculinity. 10 or 12 years later, after he was conferred an honorary doctorate by Stanford University in California. In fact, the first report that he has done is as thick as 600 pages. You can actually buy online. I think costs a few $100 in US. 600 old pages. He's shown all the report, but it can be summarized in the 4 points. And 10 years later, he repeated the same research over the 110 countries again from IBM centers, and he realized there were actually 2 more dimensions. One is known as time orientation. The 6th is indulgence, which we'll talk about in the next subject. Yeah. But meanwhile, for marketing purpose, I'll just put down time orientation, which is related. What has he actually found out in terms of the variable of time orientation? It seems that in certain countries, the people involved in either business or accomplishing their stuff by looking into the short-term benefit or long-term benefit. Even in business or marketing, it will also depend on the company policy of short-term or long-term. Short-term meaning I want to make a quick money. I don't care about the quality. I don't care about customers' complaint. I try to package it very nice, but internally there is no quality. I just get the money one time, I'll just gone, disappear. Quick money. It's not a direct version of cheating, but it's a diplomatic way of cheating the money and you just disappear yourself. In the true business world, there are some companies with that short term. You heard about so many cases in big countries, including China mainly. Have you heard about the milk powder scandal in China? They make a lot of money and end up with newborn baby who is suffering from cancer because of the ingredient used in the milk powder was not proper. And they make a lot of profit, and government found out from the hospital report, newborn baby of 3 years having cancerous growth after consuming the milk powder, and all the milk production factories were closed by the China government. That is a good example of short term. They make a lot of profit, but at the end, government closed them down. There's no choice. But in most cases, the more established Western companies are very focusing on long-term time orientation. Meaning you do something, you are very far-sighted. I want to make sure that people respect. I want to make sure my service and qualities are long-term, where people will not simply complain that you try to cheat them. I'm very transparent what I can provide, what I cannot provide, right from the beginning. The moment the company do that is on the long-term orientation. So let's say in a city, we talk about they are very much on the long-term, okay, it's over here. Then at the end, you are going to get this type of chart in this manner. You can link it up. So this is a radar chart. So it's some sort of like radar. So that is for the city culture. But you can superimpose by using different colors, such as blue, for those data that you are going to obtain from the outskirts. It may end up to be, you have something like this. I'm just quoting an example. Don't take it seriously, but just quote you what a radar chart may appear, see, because of your, maybe it's up to here. So your radar chart may be superimposed in this manner. The blue stands for the outskirt. This is outskirt. Outskirt. The red one stands for the city. So when you use computer to generate, you can see a very good design. This will be on the city. So in your discussion, you can say that, oh, the city people are more towards long-term time orientation, are more aggressive because of the work pressure, but they are very good risk taker. That's why they're smaller. They dare to take risks. So from this radar chart, you can actually write your conclusion. So this is what we call a good research piece of work. You summarize a lot of data into a diagram, and then from there you write your interpretation. Get it? You can go through website and see, put in radar chart. They will show you all the approaches on how to get to here. So it's wise way to learn. This is one strategy of where you can get extra bonus mark. All right. So before your break, we finish off this. Okay. Present the finding. What is meant by finding? Many students have overlooked. Finding means something you have actually drawn, a clear picture that you have drawn from your research. That is a finding. You have gone through the data verification, you have interviewed people, and the truth, truth of the market trend is a finding. So that's what you have observed. What you have observed. Yeah? But that's not enough to stop at the stage of what. You must know how to interpret and make recommendation. And that explains why some students say, sir, I really spent a lot of time to do research. I presented what I found and learned. I wasted 2 months on that. Why can't I get an A? Because you stop at the level of what you have seen, but you have not actually gone to the next step of making recommendation from your finding. So if you have seen people who are more focused on the long term, you have seen people who are more aggressive. What are the opportunities in business that we should have? So the recommendation, as an example, I would recommend will be, make sure when you do any promotion, it must be very in-depth in your presentation to share the truth. Don't try to cover any gray information. What your product or service can cater for, you better tell them. What you cannot, you better say out. Rather than they assume that it's a perfect, They thought by taking your health ingredient, they can live until 100 years old. No, there are other contributing factors. That's why in the promotion of education courses, we can always say that it's a program which is recognized. We will teach to the extent of we guide you to do what is essential, but we cannot guarantee that you can pass 100%. Because to pass a subject, you will involve 2 parties. We can give you the best, but you also have to put in your effort. Then only you can do well. Yeah, it doesn't mean that when you pay money, you are guaranteed a pass. Now we have students 5 years ago from China. We have about 300 here, full time. And the first group of students, I think 10% of them failed, and they were very angry. They even came to knock at my office door, very aggressively. Then we asked them why. They said, my agent told me the moment I pay money, I'm guaranteed a pass. Oh my goodness. No, in education, it's not true. It doesn't mean that when you pay money, you are guaranteed a pass. That is not education. That's selling certificate. We don't do that. So that's why I'm saying that from this chart, what I'm going to propose to the superior will be, the people in the city are very stressed, anxiety because of the work demand. So what are the, say, training opportunity? I can provide training on stress management because they are very stressed. So the only way to help them to balance out their lifestyle is to distress. How to distress? That is a stress management training. So we teach them the exercise of how to distress. Maybe go for exercise, certain time of the week or so they should go for a short holidays. Some of the distress. So these are the opportunities. So in the last part, make recommendation and decision. So this is a part where students need to actually cover. Yeah? Focus inquiry. Define problem. Okay. I would like to bring up your attention that the problem here doesn't mean negative. I'm talking about problem occurring in the circle of the prospect or your clients, not your problem here. When your customers are having problems, there's an opportunity for you to make money, create a business opportunity. You get it? Think of any good example. As I told you, the last 50 years, most countries have been stabilized because there's a decreasing degree of wars going on. Most countries are growing, so the human development index in most countries are increasing. What is human development index? It covers the education level, it covers the earning power, it covers the lifespan. People are living longer than before, right? When there's no war, everyone can focus on economic growth and job opportunity, education. When you have the earning power, you have a better education, certainly you would like to live longer, right? You don't want to have a shorter lifespan. So your expectancy level should be higher. So a lot of businesses can focus on that. That's why you can see a lot of direct selling product focusing on healthcare. People wanted to live longer for the sake of quality of life. Yeah. So that is an opportunity, I'm saying. We don't want them to live longer and meaningless. No point. No, in UK, there's another true experience. When I was in London 3-4 years ago, that Saturday and Sunday along the London street, I couldn't find kids. You know, most of the people are very aged, elderly people. Now, if you have a chance to visit London one of these days, just pay attention. In the entire London city is very, very quiet. You can see people walking, but mostly elderly people, old couples or middle age. Hardly any kids, because they are really aged. And I was told there are a lot of condos in the city, very expensive condo. Most of them, they are owned by widows. Majority are widows. The husbands already passed away because of the Second World War. So they left behind the property to the widows. And they have so much money in the city, what to do? Some of them, because of no one taking care of them, they even die off in the apartment without realizing by other neighbors. So there are a lot of community work carried out in UK to help these elderly and rich people to have some community work, you know. Even when I was in Sydney almost 3 years ago, in the city they even have the what you call the evening classes or weekend classes for those elderly people, the retiree. Classes for retirees only. We have various types of short training classes. How to dance, they teach them. How to prepare dishes. No, it's a different type of skill training for the elderly people, which they may not have the chance before. How to learn singing in certain countries' language, the Japanese song. They have that type of short-term training. And some of them may not even know how to use certain computer or play with the computer game. So they even have a computer game for the elderly people. Just to teach them and creating an opportunity for them to interact. Because most of them, the children are not with them anymore. In other countries, they are alone, very lonely. So every alternate evening, they have some sort of activity. So that for them to look forward to. They even have a short tour outside London for them to travel by train together. There's a tourist guide guiding the elderly people. Of course, they have extra care, medical care to be brought along, especially for them. They have money, but they don't know what to do and how to spend their time. So there are also businesses created for that group of segment. You may not realize, maybe 20 years later, you will realize there's a need. Okay? Develop a research plan, we mentioned about it, presenting the finding, research and decision, The decision is on, after your finding, are you going to recommend the company to proceed with that particular business venture you're talking about? Marketing is related to business venture. After seeing the full cycle of your analysis, are you going to make a recommendation? Partly also you have to look into the risk factor. Are the risks higher than the opportunity? If the opportunities are higher than risk, then it's a worthwhile venture. If the risk factors are higher, then you may say perhaps the company should put on hold for a while to observe. Yeah? Unless they have a lot of reserve fund, in case the first half or 1 year the business cannot pick up, the new business cannot pick up, can the company sustain? Characteristic of good marketing research. Scientific method, of course, we use a statistical way of calculating. Research creativity. Some are actually using the, some students told me they use what? Google Monkey to conduct their survey online. Google Monkey. One of the MBA students did a presentation in the Viva, said he used the Google Monkey to actually conduct online research. Because you say, my clients are everywhere throughout the whole Malaysia. It's not possible for me to travel to all the states and get a response. So I use the tool of Google Monkey to gather feedback. Multiple methods, independence of model and data, value and cost of information. When you gather information, do you think there's any cost? Sometimes in order to get good response from the respondent, for them to be willing to actually share, you may have to buy them drink or lunch. They are reluctant, they are very high position person in the company. For him to be very frank to answer your question, they may not be obliged to do that. So what about arranging an appointment? Can I take you for a quick lunch in a lunch or a drinking time? You just help the person to feel it by questioning. That's one way of working, but there's a cost, right? Healthy skepticism. Sometimes the respondent may have doubts in mind. I mean, that's unavoidable, yeah? So you have to overcome that hindrance to convince them. Some may feel that, oh, you are trying to spy at me. So that are the resistance that you have to actually overcome. Yeah? Ethical marketing. As I mentioned earlier on, in marketing, you have to also look into long-term orientation, whereby people feel that what you're doing is good for them, and not to take advantage or harm them. Okay, one way to measure the effectiveness of marketing is by using the statement of metrics. How to measure? Normally, the most fundamental approach is by using the ROI, return on investment. Now you can also check website the formula for return on investment. That is how much you spend and how much you're going to earn back in 6 months or 1 year's time, and then compute the ratio of it. Yeah. If the return is 2 times, 3 times, then it's worthwhile. If return is 1 to 1, then it's a high risk. I mean, in brief, for your knowledge. Marketing metrics: compare, quantify, interpret. Okay, this is one way of measuring performance. I actually heard from a seminar. A presenter was sharing with us on the measurement of performance. And that particular presenter actually shared the idea of how she actually measured the performance. It all depends on the industry. So when we talk about performance, this is performance. KPI performance is starting with 3 words. These are contributing to performance, according to her. Of course, that is more for ability, more for individual. And when she's an HR, she was an HR director. Her company's KPI to measure staff performance is to assess the ability of the staff. Motivation level. And lastly is the opportunity. according to her sharing in that particular interview, the time she said, my company used a formula of A and O to measure performance of the staff. Whose ability? Ability can be depending on the skills and also the experience of the person. And someone who is very good, sometimes he or she may not be motivated, unwilling. Where we discussed, sorry, there's a Y type. I think it's due to McGregor. Could be McGregor. So why? What's the difference between Y and X?
X are those. There's a difference that one should be constantly be motivated or even pushed to do certain things. Another time is more initiative and proactive.
So Y is more receptive in a sense, right? They are willing to take over tasks, additional tasks, whereas X is reserved. The X type of employees will always be thinking of, I'm only an employee. I only work. I work harder. You company don't pay me more. I don't want to work that hard. And the working hours is until 6. When customer walk in at 6, I say, sorry, can you come back tomorrow? There's a government staff. Whereas the Y will not be thinking like that. We had a staff over the years, one staff who's a lady, and she's very successful now with the bank as one of the vice president. No wonder she's successful. When she was with us, she took on a lot of marketing tasks. From marketing, admin, finance, she will do everything as long as the opportunity she learned. And that's why we asked her, why would you be so willing to work by taking so many tasks, unlike many other staff who will start rejecting. I have too many already, I can't cope. She said she has a master's degree at the time, economics. She said, whatever I'm going to learn here is going to benefit me for life. When I learn something new, it's going to be with me for life. Nobody can take away from me. That's why I don't mind. Even company don't pay me triple, I don't mind to multitask. That was a very positive thinking. That will be depending on motivation. Some are very qualified but not willing, because you pay me not as high as what I want. I only limit to 80%. I don't want to perform because of motivation level, which can be linking to attitude. How about opportunity? How would opportunity be linked to a performance? I need your interpretation. Opportunity to performance.
So what about the opportunity can be referred to the career development offered by the company?
Yes. Yes. That's why it's important that most companies should have a staff induction by the HR department to share with them the company's future development, so that the staff will be able to see, whether there's an opportunity to grow with the company. Yeah, there will be more vacancy created. There will be opportunity for this person to actually grow together with the company, and also the industry that the company is in, whether it's at the infancy stage or in the declining stage. Yeah, when you are in a so-called a new industry, there's a lot of potential for the company to grow because of the conducive business environment. So if we have that in mind, this is also related to motivation. There's a good opportunity that you are motivated and you are going to excel. Try your very best, Okay? So all in all, there are various ways of measuring performance. This is more than HR. But what you have seen just now on the slides are more on the marketing aspect. I think this one. Yeah, the definition of marketing research. the systematic design, collection, analysis, and report data and finding relevant to the specific marketing situation facing the company. And because marketing is determined by the environment, so we have to know the fluctuation, the variation in the external environment. In case there will be any trend, you have learned about SWOT analysis, right? SWOT analysis can also be applied in the event of your market research, such the internal strength or weaknesses need to be known for any company to know their ability, their capability, and also the opportunity and threat that is outside, which are equally important. Of course, when the industry is at the infancy stage of growth, introduction of growth, so there's a more opportunity available. At the stage of maturity and declining, normally it's more towards threats already. Okay, I think we have a short break. 10 minutes break, yeah, before we come back. Short break.
Yeah. There's a place we can search for the time orientation, which is how to spell the Hostel.
Can you repeat one more time?
Just like they mentioned to us, we can go to the website from Holland company. There's a data analysis for time orientation. Just like we recall, the name is Hostel, right? So how to spell the Hostel?
Okay, are you following? You get it? Hofstad is the surname, it is his name. And you can see below cultural dimension, yeah? Have you copied down? I'm going to click there. And then from there, I'm going through the first, which is the country, Hofstad Center. So they talk about strategy, culture, and change. And then there's a lot of explanation about Hofstad, the history and all that in the past. And also there's a culture compass. It's something we have done just now, but the more important tool will be here. It's just like where you can select country in Malaysia. Or I choose France for change. Yeah? So you can actually compare, straight away. You can see all the dimensions are listed here. Power distance at the bottom, individualism, masculinity, uncertainty avoidance, long-term orientation, and indulgence. You get it? So I will here for the sake of those who are taking break. After break time, I will take you through. Yeah? So it's a very important e-resource that you can actually utilize for all the subjects. All the subjects. Okay, we meet again in 10 minutes time.
你看在这看的才能哦，它就是说叫我们选一个已经 existing 在这个market的一个产品的啦。它因为它这个才能指的是就是说在马来西亚我们找一些比较方便的这种情况怎样，其实是 existing 产品来的，然后这个 marketing 的那个apply 然后我们分析出来，就是我们拿市面上其中一样东西已经在market 了，而不是一般的我有奖励。如果我按照三条是说他不讲的，他们讲可以选那种不一样，选点其他，然后他讲，可是题目太多了哦，就选一个选物啊，因为我们某个可能你是选，他是选，如果选选物也可以，可能你要选那个牙膏啊，也可以，还是你要选一些，好像油啊，还是你要选那种男生的那个选的，可能都可以，看哪一个比较容易 apply。然后他讲过后那些资料写一查，就从这边拿。 下来，我打一起打电话去沟通经理。还是有点欠骂，写出来。啊，所以。事情。